So this is day 8 of exploring monastic life, and we're getting to know each other more and more deeply through these rich teachings that we're getting from Venerable Children, and also the discussions. And the topic of anger has certainly come up more than once. At least it's come up more than once in my mind. And so I thought I'd share some thoughts that I have about this and a story that helps my mind. So there's been many books written giving us all these antidotes. It's an affliction that we're all very familiar with. We can usually identify it quite easily, and yet every day I'm faced with some level of anger, for sure. It's at least irritation, and so I have to just be patient with myself that the seeds are there from beginningless time, and to just really be wise about employing an antidote or bringing something to mind that can help me. And so what I always find curious, at least in my experience, is that as humans we do things to prevent ourselves from harm physically. Like when I get into a boat, I put on a life jacket because I don't plan on having a boating accident, but I put the jacket on. Or if we're in the forest, we put on safety glasses so we don't gouge out our eyeballs. And yet when it comes to things that will come up in my mind, I'm often surprised that they take place because I haven't prepared in advance. So there's a few things that I'm reminding myself about this week, is that if I really, truly, deeply understood that the time of death is unknown, I would not allow irritation to continue more than a second. And obviously I don't know that one deeply yet. Or if I saw that every single interaction with someone is potentially the last interaction, I wouldn't entertain anger. Or if I saw that every interaction with someone was this precious opportunity to connect and give them something like kindness or understanding or empathy, again, I would just, arm wrestle anger away, and yet my wisdom isn't there yet. So I thought I'd share a story. I think sometimes too, I get really good at remembering what I've done wrong, and not maybe the few times where I've been successful with an affliction. So this one story comes to mind. I really hope I don't say this student's name. So I'm going to change his name right now to John, just to protect him and his family. And this situation happened the year before I came to the Abbey, so I knew a lot. I knew something about Buddhist practice. And this situation took place, it was the second last week of school before the Christmas break. And I happened to have a room filled with people who were very special. And so we took the whole grades 4, 5, and 6 to the bowling alley because we thought this would be a good thing to do because no one was learning anyway. And this is a relatively non-competitive sport, and we thought that there would be less fighting in this field trip. And we told all the kids in advance that doing gutter balls was doing a good thing. So everyone was cheering whenever there was a gutter ball, which is all of the time. So it was a very festive thing. It was going really well. And then unbeknownst to me, my one student, John, who has incredible charm, started approaching all the parents on the trip and asking them for money, because in this bowling alley there was a thing that, it was one of those machines where you put in $1 and there's this arm and you can pick up a stuffed toy and the stuffed toy comes shooting out the funnel, So anyway, John smooth talks the parents and they give him $1, and he goes and gets this stuffed toy that he was going to give to his baby sister for Christmas. I mean, John's motivations were beautiful. The way he went about it wasn't so good. So of course the other kids in the field trip see John at the machine, and the whole place erupts into chaos. And the gutter balls didn't matter anymore because everyone wanted to go to the machine with this. And there were some people on staff who wanted to make this a big deal. So they took away his stuffed toy, and then John was beside himself, just beside himself. So then we get back on the bus. Oh, and I had another new student in this special group of people who was pretty new to the group, about a week. And anyway, so we get back to the school, and I'm with the stragglers getting into the school. And the teaching assistant is in the room with the rest of the kids who are already there. And this huge fight breaks out about John having the stuffed toy and being allowed to do this and that. And then the new student is having this vicious fight with the teaching assistant. So I walk into a room of chaos, which was pretty common. And there's screaming and yelling, and there's just everything is going all at once. And I didn't see that John is at the phone making a phone call. And so in the midst of all of this chaos, I get this little voice, well, this big voice now saying, "Hey, Miss Becker, my mom wants to talk to you." So I thought, great. So there's this fight going on. The new student is swearing at the teaching assistant. Everybody is sort of in the midst of sort of, and this is the week before Christmas. And so then I pick up the phone, and John's mom is on the phone screaming at me. Why did I take away her son's blood? So you know the story. She's beside herself. I've never met John's mom before. Like in all the years I've known John, only his dad would come to the parent-teacher interviews. And actually, John's mom and dad were divorced, so I'd never even spoken to this person before. And here she is screaming at me. And she said, "I want to talk to you right now." And so I said, "Sure, when would you like to come in?" And so she decided that she was going to come in the last week of school. So that was fine. And what was working in my favor is that John knew I liked him, and I liked John. And so the day of the interview, when Mom was coming in, I was assuming to rip me apart and just sort of tear me to shreds, just because a mother bear is going to do that to protect her son, which I knew. Just before the interview, John came in and said, "Don't worry, Miss Becker. I told my mom to take it easy on you." So, I kept the door open. The principal said, "I don't want you in the room alone with that door closed. Just keep it open, and if you're in trouble, call." So, so the woman came in, and John came back in and gave his mom a big hug, and he said, "Come on, Mom, don't be mean to Miss Becker." And so she wasn't going to be mean to me at all. She simply told me about her life. And I just wanted to cry. In fact, thinking about it makes me want to cry. And she told me about the marriage and how much she loves her son and how mad she was that this one teacher took her son's toy away because his toy was going to be for his sister. So we talked, and she said, "I'm really glad that you're not angry with me. I want to come see you once a week. I want to have a relationship with the school. I want to support my son." So I thought, fantastic. So I was very happy that I didn't have a mind beforehand that was ready for battle, mostly because I was afraid. But, sometimes fear is useful. And so then it was Christmas holidays. And then this was about the third day back after the Christmas break. And John, it was this, anyway, I was at some kind of in-service, and I was away from school. So then I got to school the next day, and John wasn't there. And so I was asking the kids, "Well, where's John?" And they all said, "Oh, you don't know?" I said, "No." And then some kids said something about a fire, and they said, "Miss Becker, you better go see the principal." So I went to the principal, and he looked at me, and I said, "Well, where's John?" He said, "Oh my God, you don't know." So while I was away at this training, a fire started in John's mother's home. And John's mother lived with her parents. And there was something to do with the wiring, and the house burst into flames. And this is, in the middle of winter. And John's mother got out of the house with her mother, and she realized her father was still back in the house. And she went in to save her father, and she died. And so the point of telling you this story is that when I had this conversation with John's mother, I didn't know it would be the last. And it ended in a very good way. And so it just shows me that we don't know when people are going to die, including ourselves. And that she. We should do everything we can to make sure that every interaction is filled with kindness, and that even if anger erupts, because it will, I mean, I know my mind, we do something to remedy it either that night in purification practice or to go to them as soon as possible and at least say thank you to them. So thank you.